Welcome to our next session within the AWS Summit. I'm Douglas Bellman. I look after our worldwide business development for Smart Factories and Industry 4.0. I'm going to spend the next little while working with you and helping you understand how AWS helps innovate the industrial operations at the Amazon fulfillment centers. Now, a year ago, what we probably wouldn't have been able to do is walk into one of our fulfillment centers, spend a couple hours during the day and walk through how we go from an order being placed to something being taken off of a shelf to go onto a conveyor belt, ultimately get into a package and be delivered to your house as you start to move forward. But as we know, things have changed over the past 12 to 18 months and we can't do that anymore. So first, let me help understand what we're trying to do from an AWS standpoint. Second, we'll take a tour of how we do that. Then I'll come back and actually give you a couple insights of what we are doing from an AWS standpoint to help Amazon make sure that you, our customers, are incredibly happy and satisfied with the packages when they land on the location where you want it to be. What we've been doing since the beginning of AWS and Amazon is working with our customers to understand if we knew the state of everything. And we could put reason on top of that. What problems would we solve? And many of those problems have to do with our fulfillment center and making sure orders are being placed and deliveries are happening in that standpoint. There's probably things that you know about Amazon and AWS, things like the scale that we work with. And we'll talk about how many locations we have, how many orders we look at from a day in and day out basis. The speed that we have, not just of delivering these devices to you, but the speed of innovation that is a constant ongoing change that we're doing to ensure that you, our customers, are delighted and satisfied. At the same time, anything that we do, both from an AWS standpoint and an Amazon standpoint, has to do with the customer. We've got concepts and capabilities, which I'm sure you've heard about, with working backwards. What is the issue that you're seeing, and how do we work backwards from that issue and then worry about what technology is going to help from that standpoint? Well, when we look at this, we've become data-driven from day one. And this is what we're helping our customers do when we work with them to understand what are logistical issues that you're having on your shop floor. What are things around warehousing that you're looking at? What are things like predictive maintenance capabilities? We're looking to look at new technology. What is that next version of a disruption that we can start to build and really spearhead into your operations as we move forward? Across the board with this is integrating the full supply chain. Inbound logistics, outbound logistics, warehousing, logistics management, working with your third-party logistics companies and others to really ensure that you also can take some of these best-of-breed capabilities. Our goal is to move away from a lot of these analog inputs and really define and drive into foundational technologies. These are not things that are bolted on later. These are integrated from the capabilities from the beginning. And ultimately, all of these tools will help you get better visibility and better control within your environment and within your operations to get to that next level of improvement that everybody is striving to do. Now, when we look at this, let's look at our supply chain, what we've done, how we've built it, how we've driven these capabilities over the past 25 years. When Amazon went public in 1997, we had one marketplace and we had two fulfillment centers. A marketplace is .com. So now we have multiple marketplaces out there. We have over 17 marketplaces or countries that we're able to have our physical locations within. Think of a .com.sg or .co.au or other things from that standpoint. Those are locations where we have physical presence. Some of those 300 plus fulfillment centers and over 180 and growing different robotic enabled fulfillment centers, which means within those 180 different locations, we have over 200,000 different robots that we're working all time. At the same time, why have we been able to build this is because of you, our prime customers. Over 150 million prime customers are working with us and on us and fulfilling those capabilities and ordering with us on a daily basis. To support that, we still have 500,000 employees or more that are working with us in our locations. This is allowing us to build that new unprecedented scale capability that wasn't there at the beginning and will continue to grow as we start to move forward. Now, when we look at this, this adds up to an incredible amount of complexity. This means tens of millions of different purchase orders that we're putting onto our vendors, hundreds of millions of promises that we're making to you, our customers, when you make that order. Those hundreds of millions of customer promises are coming from billions of customer orders out there, which also then means hundreds of millions of ways to replenish that ordering system. We build that into an automated ordering system that works with our hundreds of thousands of vendors out there to ensure that we have the inventory that you're looking for on time so we can make that promised delivery for you. If you look at a traditional supply chain, it's a lot of just-in-time capabilities. It's also a lot of touch points. So we get an order system, the order goes in and that goes out to a vendor and they react to it. That goes out to a carrier and the carrier reacts to it. The fulfillment center reacts to the carrier showing up or items being brought into there, maybe cross-dock or other things from there. Every time we have to react, we potentially have a delay. So what we look at is how we can get rid of these delays. Each delay for us means potentially a slipped order, a promise that was made, an order that we can't fulfill on time. And it also costs money. So when we look at our supply chain, we go from forecasting to try and understand what you might be purchasing in the near future. Yes, we try to predict what you're going to be purchasing due to your buying patterns, others like you within that buying pattern. And in fact, we have now brought that Amazon forecast product to our customers to allow you to use that same logic and that same capability across your operations to understand what orders that you might need to replace in the near future. It's a great way to start to build out not just what your forecast is, but that should be driving your production plans and your ordering plans and your inventory and your stock and everything from that standpoint. That's how we look at it. If we can understand what you're going to be purchasing, we're building a demand-driven supply chain. That purchasing goes into our forecast, which then says, where can we put these products? Each facility is a certain size, so we can't store every stock keeping unit in every location. So we have to look at the capacity of those locations, the potential of where the buyer is living, so we can actually start to route that down to be closer to that customer. So when you place that order, we can make sure that that product is placed near you so we can fulfill that. 99% of our inventory is ordered automatically. And when you think of the scale that we're going on with that and the orders that we're taking, the orders that we're delivering, and the orders that we're making with our vendors to ensure that product is there, that starts to add up pretty quickly. Well, ultimately, we have to use artificial intelligence and machine learning to do this. We're looking at over 400 million different products that are forecasted and demanded by customers on a day in and day out basis. That has us do optimization of our inbound carriers and our delivery notifications to make sure that we have everything working in harmony. And of course, we do need to adjust for regional demand and what's happening out there. Now let's look at one of our fulfillment centers. These fulfillment centers are roughly about 1 million square feet. And it's about 2/3, roughly about 65% of that facility, which you see a picture of right here, is built for our robotics environment. And don't worry, we'll look at what robotics is in a moment from that standpoint. At the same time, we have thousands of associates that are still working here to ensure that we're building those capabilities, making that delivery for you. A facility like this is built to do about 1 million units in a 24-hour period. Yes, during peak season, we can expand that up to a certain point, but typically, on average, we do about 1 million units a day. Now, instead of watching me and listening to me go through this, let's actually now take the next couple minutes and take a tour.
Ever wonder how Amazon gets your packages to you so quickly? It's done with a symphony of machine learning, automation, and our amazing associates. Join us as we see that in action in an Amazon fulfillment center. Welcome to an Amazon Robotics Sortable Fulfillment Center. This FC is one of more than 50 worldwide, where robots work alongside our amazing employees. Let's go inside. At Amazon, we're customer obsessed. We're also obsessed with the safety of our employees. In April of 2020, Amazon began enhancing its temperature screening process by implementing thermal camera systems throughout multiple business lines in North America. Now that our temperature is not detected as high, we're free to continue the tour. Today, we're going to follow the path of products from where they're received, stowed, then picked, packed, and put on a truck for distribution. The inbound process starts with forecasting and ordering before anything arrives to the FC. Powered by AWS, Amazon's forecasting engine is used for over 400 million products daily. Let's go to the receiving area. As you'll see, we put a lot of energy into our logistics. It's a symphony of people, AWS, software, and other high-tech components. The result is a coordination between our great employees and the finely honed computer systems we've evolved for more than 20 years. Our employees are the heart and soul of our operation. Some are military veterans, some are active members of the community, some are employees that work here with their loved ones. They're all amazing. Trailers full of vendor and small and medium business seller items arrive at these bay doors by appointment. Employees unload the trailers and begin the process of staging items located at their receiving workstations. This FC carries millions of items of inventory, and using the service known as Amazon Aurora, we manage our inventory transactions and other relational database needs. At this station, you can see how our inbound associate receives a product and how those products are stowed in our inventory. Amazon robotic drive units are activated when an associate logs into their workstation to perform their task. Storage pods arrive facing the correct side to stow items into inventory. Every time an associate touches a product, they scan a unique barcode for that item, which we call the Amazon Standard Identification Number, or ASIN. That's stored in our inventory system, so we know what the quantity and location of that item is at any given time. To manage our inventory history, we use Amazon Neptune, a fast, reliable, fully managed graph database service from AWS. Now, you might expect that we'd organize this in a way where similar items are stowed together. For example, all electronics would be stored in the same section. However, at Amazon, we've found that it's more efficient to stow products using a randomized method. That's why you'll see a variety of items in each inventory bin. Once that process has been completed, a physical and digital match is created in our systems. So just a few seconds after an item is stowed, you can order it on Amazon.com. Looking at a station next door, we see a great example of computer vision helping with automation. When an associate scans an item, you'll see magenta lights over some of the bins in the pod. This lets the associate know not to place that item in those locations, as artificial intelligence-driven logic has determined that the bin is full, that placing an item there may negatively impact the pod's overall weight distribution, or that a visually similar item is there and may cause confusion later when an associate needs to pick the item. The associate can then place the item in any of the other bins. But computer vision doesn't stop there. It will also detect what bin the associate reached into and knows where that item is placed. As one final step, it will take a picture of the pod and use image recognition to count the number of items in the bin, making sure the count matches what is recorded in our tracking systems. When the machine learning model has low confidence, it sends images to people to classify and train more ground truth data for our machine learning model, which operates in Amazon SageMaker and Amazon SageMaker Ground Truth from AWS. This allows us to perform ongoing inventory reconciliation, avoiding the scheduled inventory counts that are often done at least once a year at other organizations. Now, what's up with those robots we see moving the pods around? There are thousands of robot drive units spread throughout each floor, helping associates fulfill customer orders daily. Amazon Robotics operate in dedicated fenced-off areas within the FC, which account for about 65% of the facility's total square footage. The drive units travel to various locations in our FC to pick up mobile shelves of product and deliver them to employees who are working at ergonomic workstations. To navigate, they read 2D barcodes on the floor, and locations are tracked in real time using our own created robotic operating software. Our Amazon Robotics team has developed more than 100 services to support operations and uses AWS extensively in the Amazon fulfillment centers. Only specially trained individuals wearing custom safety equipment are allowed to enter this area, but on our virtual tour, we're allowed to walk through this restricted area. Each sortable FC has over 1 million unique items, helping us with our goal to provide Earth's largest selection. You may be thinking, okay, robots are great, but I just ordered an item. How's it picked? To answer that, let's go to a pick station. Here, we see a similar layout as our stow station. Once you hit the Buy button on Amazon.com, our systems will queue the robots to find the inventory pod with the item you ordered. Once that item has been identified, the robot will bring it to our associate. A screen at the associate station will show them a picture and quantity of the item they need to pick. The same visual bin inspection system is used as during stow, except this time, instead of lighting up bins where items should not be placed, the system lights up in a white light where that item is. The associate identifies and grabs the item, placing it in the yellow tote signified by the green light, and pushes the button, acknowledging that the item was placed there. When the system detects that the tote is full, the light flashes, and the associate pushes the full tote back to a series of conveyors and replaces it with a new one that was automatically brought to their station. At this stage, associates are picking items for different customers in batches. The two types of picking processes we focus on are single item orders and multiple item orders. The single item orders contain only one item per customer order. We fill up a yellow tote full of single item orders weighing up to 25 pounds. The single item order yellow totes will then be routed to the singles pack lines for packaging. The multiple item orders contain more than one item per order. If your multiple item order of 6 items are all in this building, then it's possible that your order is being picked up by up to 6 different people picking items from 6 different robots, which all need to be brought together for your single shipment. Your items will be placed in any available yellow tote and routed to our multiple item order assembly stations. It's at that point that we will rebin your individual items into one customer order. Then, once all of your items are together, it's packing time. To help improve efficiency and also reduce environmental impact of the packaging, the size of box or envelope is automatically selected by a machine learning algorithm. Even the correct length of tape is determined by machine learning and automatically dispensed. If needed, protective packaging materials are added. A barcode is placed on the package, it's sealed up, and away we go. That barcode will be important for the next stage that we call SLAM. But what if I order 2 items and those items are in 2 different FCs? Do I get 1 box or 2? The answer is, it depends. Our first priority is to get you the item at the date and time that we promised when you placed the order. The second priority is to do that at the lowest cost possible and with the lowest environmental impact so we can continue to pass on lower prices to you. With those 2 things in mind, we use machine learning to figure out if it's optimal to ship to you from each FC in 2 different packages, or ship an item from one FC to the other, combine them there, and ship to you in a single package. You're now seeing our SLAM line in process. SLAM is an acronym which stands for Scan, Label, Apply, and Manifest. The technology here scans that barcoded sticker placed on the package and pack, and immediately knows to print the correct shipping label on the package. This is the first time your name and address are placed on the package. So how do we know which carrier to use? That's also determined by machine learning. In the space of a few seconds, an algorithm is run to determine the optimal delivery carrier to get you the package on time and at the lowest cost possible. There are also quality control measures in place here. Following this, the box is weighed and the weight is checked against the item's known weight. If the weight is off, the order will be routed to a special location. From there, an associate will open the package and take the applicable action. We're now entering the final stages. After passing all of those quality control measures, the package is routed onto another series of conveyors to a location where the label is scanned. The conveyors then automatically send each package down the correct chute, where it will be packaged on a semi-trailer for shipment to another FC, or a sortation center for final delivery to you. There are approximately 17.5 miles of conveyor belts in this FC. In order to run reliably, every single day, they're monitored via AWS IoT services. AWS IoT Greengrass helps here by allowing devices to act locally on the data they generate while still taking advantage of the cloud. Events, in particular from the machinery, are sent to Lambda functions in AWS that trigger step functions. These workflows then coordinate RME operations to maintain the equipment, perform inspections, replace faulty motors and belts, and other types of activities. We even collaborate with some of our automation suppliers using AWS ML models to predict equipment failures and address issues before they arise. thank you for visiting our Amazon Sortable Robotics Fulfillment Center. We hope you enjoyed our virtual tour.
Well, hopefully that made sense and gave you a good insight to what we do and the scale that we do that. Let me peel back the onion for you on a couple examples that you saw. One of the examples that you saw was what we called random stow. You had a person standing there that they had boxes coming to them, and they now need to get that box into inventory. While that box is sitting on the dock, it's not in inventory. In fact, it doesn't make inventory for you to make that purchase until it's on that yellow shelf. Well, we use a system called random stow. What happens with a random stow is we don't really give guidance to that associate putting those items into there to tell them exactly where to put it. We do some don't put it into these locations or that location. Maybe it's because of size, because there's items already in there, such as you don't want books to go on top of potato chips. Some of the logic you can kind of make sense. So we know it's already in that shelf. At the same time, what we don't want to do is put all of the same items on one shelf. Let's say, when people were ordering CDs, you don't want every CD from the new CD that's being launched on one shelf because if 10 people place that order, now you have to go to 10 stations to do the picking. Well, what this allows us to do is randomize that stowing capability, but also optimize that it can be delivered faster to the associates for picking. All of our touch points have barcode scanning. From the second it's received at the inbound box and the bins that we have, every bin that you see out there has a unique identifier. Every shelf has a unique identifier on it. Every bin that the associate put it into has a unique identifier on it. They pull it out of those bins, go for eaches, and build it into another box for the shipment capability from that standpoint. That has a unique identifier on it. And all of that information is tracked. So we can track exactly where every box is in real time to ensure that even at that last second that we're still going to make that promised delivery time. Well, another example is our bin visioning system. So think now that that box is out there, you place your order. The first thing that happens in our system on the cloud is we look at inventory across all 350 locations that are sitting out there. Remember, not every location has every inventory built into it. So what we want to be able to do is ensure that we know where that inventory is. It's constant communication that's happening to ensure that that product is available for you. We first find out where it is. At the same time, we look to see what that low-cost routing is and the time frame of that low-cost routing to make sure we can make and beat that promise that we made to you of either 24 or 48 or 5-day shipping. Once that happens, we place that order down to the location. That then goes out and kicks into the robots, and the robots say, great, I need to go find this shelf, pick it up, and bring it to Station X. Station X, as you see right here, the gentleman's standing there, and all of a sudden he gets in front of him the lighting system that shows him where he should be picking that item from. It allows them to very quickly understand which shelf this product is on. So they just have to look for that one product. Because remember, in that one little cubby hole might be 4, 5, 6 different items. So they want to be able to pick it. They also look at that item to ensure that it's still in good shape for the associates. It helps and allows that associate to pick more items per hour, but also allows us to ensure that quality of that product is going forward. Now, when that shelf moves away from the associate, we do something that's really unique and kind of interesting and very relevant for any manufacturer out there. That shelf goes off and actually takes a picture. It stands in front of a camera and a picture comes together and finds out what that shelf looked like before and what it looks like now. In other words, was to is type of comparison. We use computer vision to make that comparison in real time to make sure that no items fell off of there, that associate picked the correct item for us. And we're now able to deliver that correct item depending upon the order that you placed with us. Then that shelf goes off back in inventory and it's ready to go for the next robot to pick it up, to bring it to the next person, to be able to deliver from that standpoint. Well, hopefully this gave you a couple ideas. Hopefully this has allowed you to see what Amazon does using the AWS environment to really build those capabilities and drive what we're doing in a day in and day out basis. The scale that we look at is sometimes very hard to really take back and understand what is going on. But if we can do these type of things at the scale that we talk about from an Amazon standpoint, think of doing that in your environment. Now, you can learn more with our training and certification capabilities, which are listed right here. a lot of the things that we saw and a lot of what's happening in that Amazon location uses our IoT capabilities of data being captured, data being moved, and ultimately data that flows to help you get better insights as you start to move forward. So with that, thank you very much for the time. Again, I hope that you got some great insights about what Amazon does using AWS for this environment. Please fill out the survey that we have available for you, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the near future. Thank you.